Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. Today we're going to do a homebrew. As you know, I love Magic and love to play Magic, but that's something that we haven't covered here on the channel before. So I'm hoping whether you're a beginner or an expert, you're going to find something interesting in the build that I came across today, stumbled upon, however you want to look at it. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. Share them in the space below. If it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any of the other future fun videos. I'm going to record this at speed, assuming that you're maybe new here. So with that said, we click on the plus deck sign, and we're going to start building from here. Initially, I knew that I wanted to have a Strict Proctor in here because I assumed that I would do something fascinating and amazing with the Lotus Vale. But, yeah, that's maybe not how it turned out. That deck is still in here, rather that card is still in the deck. But anyhow, so I started off with my Strict Proctor because that's going to cancel out the having to sacrifice 2 land cards when it comes into play, that Lotus Vale comes into play. It actually shuts off some of my powers and abilities. So, you know, I'm telling you these things after the fact, but and how they're probably not going to work. And yet this deck went on to amaze me by winning several games in a row. There may be a stumble or two across the way, but I actually got to let somebody else get that phone. Anyhow, I'm hoping they're going to get that phone. All right, continuing from a brief phone interruption. Where was I? The Lotus Field. Yeah, so I expected to do brave and exciting things with that, and it didn't work out that way. But people are starting to run more land destruction. So I figured the big thing we'd have to worry about these days is toxic. And I'm sure we probably will have to do that on the ladder and such, but we'll maybe cover another video and get into some ways of trying to avoid toxic. Solemnity, though, is one of those basic cards that I think is going to become very important to a lot of people here soon. All right, so we've got our Lotus Vales added in there. And I'm thinking that I want things that will untap lands. I want to take advantage of the fact that that land taps for 3 mana at a time, and if I can untap a single land, will give me 3 mana. So really what I'm looking for here is things like hidden strings, but I don't believe that's available in the arena setup. That would be a card that would give you the ability to untap 2 lands. So if I've got 2 Lotus Vales there, boom, suddenly I've got 6 mana, and I can cast just about anything. I can't find that, though. By typing what you're looking for, it doesn't have to be just a card name. You can type in what you want the text on the card to say, and it will pull up the available things there. So, not seeing anything that's going to give me a great advantage, but this will give me an advantage in finding what I need quickly. Whether I'm land starved or flooded, that Abundant Harvest is a quick and easy card to get me to the cards that I need. It's a little bit faster. It's kind of a throwaway, and I don't recur this, but it does matter early game. Mid game, I'm going to have the mana that I need. I'm counting on that Lotus Vale to provide me with all the mana that I need. So a few of these, though, and this may change by the end of it. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of certain that it does, because it does go through a couple of iterations, and you're going to see that happen. So let's move forward and see what else we're going to put into this deck. So I cut out about 2 minutes here, where I evidently had like a massive brain fart and couldn't decide what I was doing. I believe I was changing tactics and deciding that I wasn't going to find what I needed. So here I've sped it up a little bit just to get to the point, which is to find a 1-drop that draws me more cards. So we've addressed two of the main problems that every deck needs to address, which is ramp to get to the land that you need, and card draw to gain advantage over time. And that guy is probably going to be the best one-drop card draw that White's going to have to start with. So the deck is kind of still meandering at this point. I'm still looking for cards that I think are going to be good. I don't want to just rely on my standard cards. There's that Solemnity, though. Solemnity is definitely one that I'm going to put in here, considering that I am playing Historic. I may not see as much Toxic as I expect to later on, but yeah. Actually, Removal, the next thing we're going for. The fact that this can take out any of the small drops that they put in there is definitely a necessity. So we've got ramp, card draw, removal. We're hitting all the basics, as you can see. At this point, let's see what else we need to put in here. I'm thinking now at this point that I want to go with enchantments, and I want to start looking for white-green enchantments. I don't want to go the basic route that everybody's going with, building up tokens by putting enchantments on the field. I want to do something else a little bit different. I do like the fact, though, that there's an enchantment that will give my other enchantments and creatures the ability to be cast without being countered. So I'm starting to build this on 3 or 4 fronts. There is no silver bullet. There's no magic deck that's going to be completely bulletproof. There's always going to be something. This will give me advantage over time, since I am casting a few different creatures. That will also give me mana. That will give me also +1/+1 counters. Now, remember me saying earlier on that those Strict Proctors are going to work against me? Well, I think we're going to see that. I do like the idea of getting more counters for casting enchantments, but I don't want to commit to this deck completely. I've already done one that way on the channel before. So we're going to meander around and see what else feels right. So for the beginners, again, this comes with having played for a very long time. Again, I'm not the best at home brewing, but I'm looking at this because it will give me more mana. I kind of feel just not sure if that's going to be something that I need now. I think my mana is kind of set. Anyhow, as far as the home brewing goes, as far as you play enough games on here, you're going to get a feel for what's really going to... I'm going with a hexproof theme, a sub-theme of hexproof. That's why I picked that for adding mana into it. At any rate, this gives me lots of mana. So, this deck could probably use a few sweepers, but at this point, I like the idea of casting an enchantment and getting card draw. So, I realize I'm meandering, but again, this is a stream of consciousness, and it's real time, and my mind wanders everywhere. Let's go for more card draw. We are going to be casting creatures, and, well, pseudo card draw. The idea that we can look at this and scry, that's good. That will draw us a card. The enchantments will draw us a card. Eventually, I think I realized that Collected Company should go in here. However, Collected Company, we're not playing that many creatures, so we may occasionally whiff on drawing those cards and getting those creatures. Well, gotta have my favorite 9 lives and Solemnity combo in there. It's not a guaranteed win. It sometimes locks up the game long enough to stall for a turn or two, and we'll see how that goes. Yep. This is also going to protect us from toxicity. And let's see. All right, let's get rid of this. We'll go down. All right. Gonna have to cut a couple cards. So start out with 4 of everything. I guess the magic number is if you get 9 cards and you have 4 each of them. That's one way to start building a deck. Other than that, it's trial and error and what you think you're going to need. This deck doesn't really have any bombs. Doesn't really have anything that's going to blow out the opponent or turn the tide. It should just build, I would say, gradually. It should be built quickly because we are ramping. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. So here's the deck. And what are we going to call it? Got to give it a name. Yeah, it's a homebrew, right? And again, something that I don't normally cover on this channel. Normally this channel is just straight gameplay. Tends to be, I hate to say what I'm doing is net decking, though it probably is. I'll start with an initial list. I don't do homebrews a lot because I feel like I can always improve the decks that I come across. Yeah, I don't have an original idea, but I do have the ability to improve, or maybe it's just the server that I'm on that I wind up having to make changes to the decks and find new cards and my pet cards to throw in, or maybe I just don't know how to play. I don't know. Anyhow, let's get into this. So this is a fairly decent hand. I don't have any green, though. I am going to keep it, though, because I do see the Solemnity in there, and I do have some removal. And yikes, we're up against Slivers. Slivers is another deck that seems to be making a resurgence here, and I don't like it. Nope, I don't like it. Is it an especially good deck? I don't have anything against the deck personally, or Slivers themselves. They are tough, very tough to play against. They're not as bad as elves. They're not. So now, this is Strict Proctor is going to allow me to play that Lotus Field next turn. What it does shut off, though, is it shuts off my ability to do some of the things that I want to. So, let's see what happens. Might as well play it because I don't have a 2-drop. That shuts that off, and it means I don't have to sacrifice the land. Yay me. Alright. So, not looking good against 5 flyers. 5 flyers that cause loss of life. One of the other problems with... Yeah, this is probably going to go back to the drawing board to do something with this, because this doesn't look good at all. Loss of life is another way of getting around 9 lives. So 9 lives, while some people might think it's unfair or broken or stupid or whatever, there are ways of getting around it. So with that in mind, what are we going to do here? 3 mana. 3 mana of 1 color. We're going to go... Let's see. We're going to go with green. We're going to cast this, and this is perhaps about the time that I realize this isn't going to work the way that I wanted it to. Yeah, I can make the choice. I can choose to get rid of whichever one is most annoying, and I can choose to create a token, or maybe gain some life. And then it's about the time that I realize that, oh, that works against me, and I've got to go back to the drawing board is what I have to do. There's no way that that's going to work the way that I want it. So, let's go back and make a change. The final version of this deck I'll be sure to include in the show notes. And if you have any comments for better deck building tips, be sure to leave those down below. Or if you're new and have absolutely no idea how to go about building a deck, you can leave a question there also. I read all comments as they appear and try to reply to all of them. So, All right, we're not going to the drawing board just yet. We're going to play another game and see if we just, maybe if we pay more attention to our board instead of worrying about their board, we can get, oh, it's not going to be slivers that time. All right, let's do this. We're going to drop this onto the field. We're not going to be able to deal with loss of life, but we can deal with damage up to a point. Yep, I'll take it. And if they have any other things to back it up, that's going to give us our card draw that we need. So, what's the play here? We drop the green. We want to make sure that we have all the mana that we need. So, I can stand this for a turn or two. Again, you don't lose the game until you've lost your last life. Or there's some other mitigating factors, like you get 9 counters on your 9 lives. But if I can get this on the board, this damage won't matter. However, 4 different sources of damage, that's not good. Next turn, though, the 9 lives will be online. And with me continually getting card draw, I might actually get to a point where I have to discard a card. Yeah, this is not a new deck. It's something that we've seen many times before. But having another 9 lives to back it up, it's definitely going to be worth it. Let's do this. And now this will subtly increase the amount of that they have to pay to have their spells go off, or rather their ATBs, their enter the battlefield effects, are going to be subtly more expensive. Get rid of a card. All right. That was kind of risky. I probably should have put the 9 lives down. But they're swinging in. I'm surprised they didn't commit, but they might be waiting. I'm just going to take it all because, again, you don't die until you're down to your last life. 10 life isn't the best place to be. Oh, that's what's going on. All right, so now absolutely is the time to play a land and tap for 3 mana. All right, we've bought ourselves another turn at least. 2 options. We can draw into our Solemnity, or we can get the other 9 lives down. Now, watch us rack up those counters. At this point, I'm not going to worry about card draw. I need to get rid of that creature because otherwise he'll be casting instants again from the graveyard, building up more value, and I can't risk that. There it is. Well, I'll get 1 more card off of it. And look at those counters just rack up, one right after the other. So, what's the play? The play is put a land down. Actually, if 3 to get the other, yeah, let's put this down and let's get a little bit of value out of it. Do that. We're going to drop this now. We're going to buff that up so I at least have a blocker. That's 1 less source of damage. Doesn't matter how big those creatures are, it's a source that it's being protected from. I can buy 1 more turn. And next turn, drop another Lotus Field. I will have 5 mana to cast. Well, I don't have a lot in my hand to cast now, do I? Yeah, I think that he could have me dead this next turn. So we'll block one of them. Didn't want to commit everything. Interesting. All right. And here we go. Let's see what else we can get. We're going to go non-land. All right. That will give me some more value. All right. Let's tap this. This time we're going to go for green. Drop this. And drop this. We don't have our Strict Proctor tripping us up, so let's gain a life. Oh, rather, I guess I decided I was going to make a token instead. Treasure token. Let's get rid of this. Next turn. At least they don't have a ton of flyers. I've got a couple of blockers. Definitely not going to attack. And we're going to see where we go for this. I'm not going to bother narrating the future games and stuff because I think we're going to see just what happens here. And that is all she wrote. Didn't quite happen for us. So, why am I bothering to talk about this deck? Because, with a little bit of tweaks, suddenly we find ourselves on the other side of this, where we are winning. So, we played a couple of games. We learned what's working and what's not working. Let's go into this. Let's look for the land. First of all, why are we not playing dual-colored lands? We need those lands so that we're not faced with a choice of one or the other. Even if we have to pay life, it will be worth it to get on board and actually be able to play the color that we need when we need it. So we're going to speed this up because you don't need to see the entire process of me laboring through here, trying to find the colors that I need. Obviously, I need white, green. I need cards that come into play, whether they come into play untapped because there's a forest or a plains already on the field. Again, since we're playing historic, we have access to those cards. We also have access to cards that I can pay 2 life to untap, to have come into the field untapped. With that, it's a pretty straight trade of getting rid of a couple of plains, getting rid of a couple of forests, 4 of each to be exact. And it's about the time now that it occurs to me there's another nuisance out there that I should probably be protected against, and that is mill. I hate getting milled out. I'm not above using that strategy myself, but it occurs to me that I need to be protected against it. And if you are playing a green deck, any green deck, doesn't matter whether it belongs in there or not, whether it's on flavor or not, you need, absolute need, Gaia's Blessing in there. You definitely have to put that in there. And so that's about what time it is. Time for me to add Gaia's Blessing. Strict Proctors. I don't like the fact that's shutting off some of my stuff, but Gaia's Blessing is definitely something that needs to go in here. Let's turn the land off so that our filter is giving us what we need. Yep, Blessing. And with that, we'll also turn off the white, and there's Gaia's Blessing right there at the beginning. So, what do I cut to make room for it? What hasn't worked for us? I like the fact that I cannot be countered. My creatures can't be countered, but usually what I do is if I have 4 of a thing, I will go through and peel them out. 1 each here, though. 3 and 3. Down to 2 and 2. All right. We'll see how this starts to work. See if that affects our win rate any. And again, the whole reason that you just wasted half an hour with me, assuming you're still here with me, is I want, as a beginner player, I want you to see what it's like to actually go through this and have to deal with it. I want to give you, again, a real-time idea of what it's like to play this. As much as I love the game, it can be frustrating, and for new players, it's frustrating for everybody, not just you. Trust me on this. Up against red again. A little bit more aggressive strategy that we're going to have to deal with. I do know that they're playing a prowess deck, which means they're going to be casting other cards, which are going to buff their creature up. So I'm sure to get at least one, maybe two cards. Well, I don't think revealing those cards to them is a big deal. Their red deck wins, so all they're going to be doing is straight aggro. Yikes. Yeah, I cannot allow that. I'm almost sorry at this point that I cut the other one of those, because I am definitely going to need removal here. The nice thing about that is, even if they take out the creature now, they're not going to get that same creature back. They're only going to get a creature based on its CMC, and that was enough to tell this person that they didn't want to play me anymore. I'm okay with that. And see, I didn't think I was going to narrate these, but I figure I narrated the losing games the least, especially after my title of accidentally creating a great deck. I think that's what my title is going to be. I don't know. We'll see. So, how do we feel about that? I feel like I need to play a couple more games to get experience with it and see if it was a fluke or whether we've actually got a decent shot of playing this thing through. All right, let's see what this next one looks like. We have... it's not a great hand. I don't have a first turn play. I do like the fact that I have a second, third, and fourth turn play. Well, I've only got the mana for 2 plays right now, but I'm okay with that. Let's drop this on the field. Let's drop this, and let's remember this time that Strict Proctor is going to potentially shut off our... Are we up against slivers again? Yeah. It's potentially going to shut off what we want to do. So, keeping that in mind, let's do this. And let's get rid of that sliver shenanigans before it even starts. Let's get our mana online. And let's take a free attack when we get it. Alright. Next is going to be a sliver. And there's our Lotus Field. Now we've got a couple of decisions to make at this point. Do we commit to that Lotus Field? Do we tap that mana? And let's put this on the board now. We're going to get another treasure token. We've got a green free. So what do we want to draw into? Do we want a land card? Well, we seem pretty set for land as far as that goes. So let's see what kind of non-land cards we have. That's more mana. All right, I'm going to go ahead and drop this now. It's actually worth me playing the Lotus Field and not playing the Strict Proctor, because it is going to cut off what I want to do. I'm actually feeling confident with this that I'm going to be able to fight past any slivers that they put down. We do have to worry about the loss of life sliver. That's not good. And there's that loss of life. All right, what can we do about that? Well, let's see. This will get us... Well, it'll get us an extra counter on that. It will give us a chance to get more mana for next turn. Let's get... This is the beauty of this. It keeps us from getting milled out And it lets us put cards back in the deck. I'm going to go ahead and put those lands back. I probably don't need them. Another Strict Proctor. After all this, I think I'm set on mana. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I can choose this, but it gets shut off. Sad Christmas. Well, again, this is one of those things where I'm making it up on the fly. So sometimes plans change and decks change and evolve. Okay. They're down to 8 already. And I'm thinking well, we'll see. That shuts down their ETB. So the Strict Proctor does have its place in the deck. At least I believe. So, take the damage. Choose blockers. Well, they evidently saw that I was going to win next turn. I'm not sure I saw that. But at this rate, we've got a 50-50 win ratio. I'm seeing the usefulness of the deck, and I'm also seeing the usefulness of the cards in it, and starting to learn how to play the deck a little bit. All those things are important. Let's make a slight change here, though. What I'm feeling at this point is I need Collected Company in here. I need to be able to get things on the board quicker. I don't have a lot of creatures. Average casting cost is 2. You can tell that down there by the homegrown. See that 2 right there? Yeah. All right. And what are we going to do here? Let's see. Let's upgrade this guy. I never did upgrade him. We're on to the new set already. I should be using that little mite on there, but instead, I left this guy behind. Anyhow, this isn't really what you came here for, is it? So, I should just get back to it. We're going to confirm that. Let's get back to the gameplay here. All right. Let's see. I'm amazed that you've stayed with me this long. A big thumbs up that you can't see. And this game will continue, or rather this deck will continue with some other footage from the library where I played more games and had more success with it. But we're just looking over everything. Do we need that? Yeah, let's get rid of, because that doesn't matter too much. Mana hasn't been a problem too much. Let's see what we need here. We're going to add, at this point, going to add some enchantments here to round out our deck a little bit more. Let's go down here, scroll to the side, and let's get all the way to what I'm looking for are creatures. We just added Collected Company. We don't want to whiff on that. Let's get more value with, and there should be a way to include just multi-creatures. Maybe I just don't know how to search those, because it sucks having to go all the way down here. But I know of a couple of enchantment creatures that I like. There's one in particular that's there you go. Let's narrow it down a little bit. We know we want a creature. We know we want it to be green. We should mandatory hybrid. That's what I need to type in there. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. Let's see. All right. We want green white. We want something that will give us life back. And that puts, this is what I want. 2 of those. We drop those in. See if that makes a difference. What else do we get rid of? So Strict Proctors are just not working the way I want it to on this deck. So we don't necessarily need 3 of those. Everything else looks fairly solid, has performed for us. I am going to trim that just a little bit. It'll be a nice effect to have. Move that one down just to make some space. And with that, we are done and ready to move on to some more victories. All right. At this point, if you've listened to me this long, thank you. You're a far better and more resilient person than I am, because I'm tired of talking at this point. At any rate, I'm just going to go ahead and this is pretty much the final version of the deck, and so it's available in the show notes below. I hope that you've enjoyed this commentary. If so, let me know. Maybe I need to do some shorter deck text where I actually brew some more, and let me know what you think about that idea. And I want to thank you immensely for taking the time to check me out here at Tibalt's Apprentice. And let's just get to the gameplay.